It says I can't because we used all of our storage. Let's get more storage or clear some stuff up. We're going to record to the computer instead. Live, Doug is here making you a co-hosty host. Wow, we're talking about a principle today that is beyond what I would say most entrepreneurs thought when they go into any kind of training program. Most entrepreneurs, when they get into a business idea, they do not think about the type of customers that they're going to want to spend time with. And they certainly don't think about the personalities of the customer, the behaviors of the customers. And they definitely don't think about their employees or staff because when you start a business, you're not thinking about having employees or staff. Show of hands, if you would love to just run your business all by yourself, except you need to have other people because it's kind of like how things are done. Yes, awesome. So, for everybody who is new, this is a training that we're going to run for years. We've been doing it for the last 5 years. We're going to continue doing it. For everybody who has been in Alchemist Nation for some time, welcome back, Alchemist. This is the 52 Weeks to Wealth with myself, Walter Morello. And each of you have been on this journey for some of you 5 years. It's our fifth season of doing the 52 Wealth Principles. Some of you have been on for 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, and this is your first time. So let's give everybody on the call a big round of applause. We are here for one reason and one reason only. We want to make more money. Show of hands if that's true for you. Here to make more money and do less work and help more people while we do it. So we got this mission that goes around. It's called Building 100 Millionaires. Today, I'm actually wearing the shirt as well to remind us that if you build 100 millionaires, you will by certainly be able to become financially free, become a millionaire yourself. I'm probably a multi-millionaire. Show of hands are committed to helping 100 people become millionaires. Excellent. I thank you for your service. Wealth Principle 48 is Know Thyself. And today we're going to talk about the power of personality assessments. The book of the week we'll get into later is Awaken the Giant Within. Michael isn't here, so Mitch Jorsky, have you read this wonderful book? If you haven't, I know Doug has.
Walter, I have, but come on, Doug's got to do that one. Let's get real. Like,
Yeah,
that's all Doug.
it is true. It is true. Doug will be doing our guided meditation deeper in, and I do have another person who tours with Tony Robbins. So since Doug will be doing our guided meditation, Pete and Rosino, would you like to do the book of the week this week to tell us about Awaken the Giant Within? You don't have to say anything. Yes, just thumbs up if it's something you're capable of doing. All right, let's give them a round of applause. Spreading the wealth. All right, the 52 weeks to wealth. Our goal here is to get you financially free, to double your income and double your net worth. Show fans if that's okay with you. Thumbs up if you're okay with becoming financially free, double your income, double your net worth. Excellent. This wealth principle does not come to us on accident. Most entrepreneurs, as we're going through life, we do start realizing that 1/3 of our customers seem to like us. 1/3 of people seem to be attracted to us as we speak with them. It's just kind of natural and rapport is easy. And then the other 2/3 of customers tend to just never close or not do a thing. And the number actually is closer to 25%. The reason being is that there are four major types of personalities out in the world, four major behavioral types. And we tend to build rapport with people who are just like us. Show of hands if you've seen this before, people build a rapport with people who are just like them or who they want to be like. And so as entrepreneurs, we actually tend to gather customers or gather investors. By the way, show of hands if you're raising capital this year. If you're a real estate investor raising capital, would love to invest other people's money. All right. Show of hands, you're looking to buy real estate this year, looking to own a bunch of people real estate. Yep. Somebody else owns it right now. Show of hands, if that's how real estate works, other people own it until you own it. That's what names on deeds is. That's right. You want to put your name on their deeds. Well, then it becomes your deed. So for us, as we're going through personality tests and knowing thyself, let's just imagine it's not you, but let's just imagine that it's really important for us to get out of bed in the morning and do the right things. But certain behavior systems, certain personalities tend not to like getting out of bed in the morning. Some people tend not to like calling people. Some people tend not to like to go and do actions that are discomforting. So, fans, if you could imagine that that happens to people. So let's look at why that happens and how we can trick the pony to go and do the work that is going to help it get to the better place. We all have tasks that are important for us. First in business and first in real estate, it's the same thing, is finding the customer, right? Leads. So in business, we call them leads, we call them clients, we call them customers, we call this marketing. And in real estate, we call this deal acquisition, submitting offers, prospecting. The whole idea is we can't work without a customer. So step one is acquire customers. Well, there's behavioral tests that you can take to find out what type of customer acquisition mode is good for you. And there are certain behavioral tests, certain personality types that don't like cold calling. Show of hands if you're one of those. You're not a huge fan of cold calling. All right, excellent. So probably not a strong D personality. There could be some C in there. C personality types love the online marketing funnels. They love landing pages. They love lead magnets. They love having other people come through. And then the S's don't mind talking to warm customers, very customer servicey. And then the I's tend to be very much networky. Show of hands if you like networking, if networking's been a great source of leads for you. Excellent. So you can have a little bit of each. And that was DISC. What we just reviewed there was the DISC of DISC. For a personality type of an investor or a business owner who wants to scale up, we kind of have to go around the ring because in the beginning, you're kind of all of these things. Show of hands if you're the CEO, the CFO, and the COO of your company. And so you got a lot of roles and a lot of responsibilities you've got to cover. Having the disc personality that you were born with is no longer acceptable. You have to know yourself, but you have to be able to adjust yourself. Show of hands if that's a new concept, that the need to adjust. Okay, for some of us. All right. Show of hands if you already knew that. You got to adjust to different people sometimes. Perfect, perfect. I heard this advice growing up when I was talking about dating and when I was talking about improving my life. They would say you don't have to change for anybody. Walter, you don't have to change for anybody. You're perfect, just the way you are. You stay being, you want to be authentic to yourself. You be yourself. And in the dating world, I realized I was out of shape. I was not dressing appropriately, and I wasn't making money. So when I was out there as a prospect for girls, they were like, well, here's a guy who's in shape. Here's a guy who's dressed appropriately and making money. And then there's this guy, Walter, who's just like, hello, right? Like, come hang with me. And when you are as a prospect, you had a better option, right? So I looked at myself and I said, maybe these people who are telling me I don't have to change are full of shit. I thought for a moment, maybe I had a moment of clarity. I was like, maybe they're full of shit. Maybe they're biased. Maybe there's some biases, mom, like who loves me no matter what. Maybe you're not correct or giving me the right advice. And so I made some shifts and I experimented with things. Started going to the gym. I started dressing better. I started making money. And what I noticed is I stopped having to prospect for leads. They were coming to me. I could just walk into a room and the prospects would come over and start the conversation. Show of hands if you'd love that to happen in your business. Absolutely, wouldn't we? And so we must make our business so attractive, so in shape for the customer that it becomes a lot easier for them to come through. And that means we may have to change our behavior. We may have to change our personality in the moment of the customer acquisition in order to do things that get the customer in. Most of us don't like cold calling, but that is a very D mentality. It's a high ROI, it is a high intensity task. And if we can shift our personality to do high intensity tasks, high ROI tasks for a short period of time, we can end up with a better return than if we're just doing low intensity, low ROI tasks. Show of hands if you understand. These think about results. They're results driven. We don't have to be a D to pick up the phone and call people, but we do have to put ourselves into a D mentality for a short period of time in order to do that work. If you find yourself on the opposite side of the disc, you may find that it's a lot of work to go over to the D side. Where are my S's? Anybody knows that they're family oriented, they're calmer. Mike Shine is totally a D. So let's let's Mike's like, I'm an S. You're an S when you need to be. You're an S when you're with your family, when you're with your friends. But even then, all we talk about is money anyway. So that we're probably all just a bunch of D's just hanging out, making money. So S, when we are in S mode, we're family oriented. We want to eat food. We want to spend time with people. We want to relax. We want to be in our comfort zones. So that mentality, that personality type, that is very much a great hospitality person, a great customer service person. If you stay in customer service too long without customers, you end up not having any money. Show of hands if you know what that's like. To be a great customer service person without any customers, it's actually just kind of low. It actually feels a lot like I did when I was a young teenager sitting on the couch playing video games. It's actually very similar. The outcome is a lot like you're having fun all by yourself, but it becomes lonely. Maybe not emotionally, but certainly in the bank account. Show of hands, you want your dollars to have more friends? Yeah, we don't want the dollars to be lonely. So we've got to go out and we got to do some D activities for a period of time. We don't have to change our personality entirely. We don't have to be, Donald Trump all the time, but in a short period of time, we can put ourselves into a position where we ask people, "Hey, do you want to pay me? Hey, do you want to do the things? Hey, do you want to do this?" Show of hands, you can make some changes. Awesome. So I'm not telling you to change. I'm not asking you to I love you just the way you are. I do. And I'm also saying I love you richer because when you're richer, you tell other people how you got there, and then other people come in and they become richer, and then the cycle of financial freedom expands beyond Alchemist Station. Show of hands, if you know we're here to commit to help a lot of people get financially free, not just a couple. We want you first to go out and then help others. So we're going to identify some strengths and weaknesses today. I want you to look into yourself, into your soul, and we're going to write down some of the things you like and some of the things you don't like. Every single week, we do action steps. And this action step, like all the others, is working on the most important asset in your company, which is you. And so we want to sharpen you up so you have a better, clear idea of who you are, for better or for worse. The greatest strengths in your company will come from you, and the greatest weaknesses in your company will be the opposite of your strengths. So, fans, we understand that's how it works. Strengths equal weakness. And so we want to hire out for the weaknesses, but in order to do that, we must identify what those are. So let's pull out a pen and paper, and we're first going to identify our strengths and our weaknesses in our business. But for some of you, it may be easier to do this in your health, or it may be easier to do this in your relationships. I assure you, regardless of where you choose to do this, it will convert over. Let's dive in. So identify strengths. On the left side, I want you to create a T chart. I'm from accounting. I have accounting background, so we do T charts all the time. So you make a big T on your piece of paper, leave at the top room for you to write titles, and then a line down the center. So on the left side, we're going to put our strengths, personality strengths. I want you to write down 3 personality strengths right now that are related to increasing your business's potential. We were doing a Guerrilla Business School this weekend. So yesterday we talked all about raising capital. It was all about how do you find money? How do you structure deals? How do you make sure that the ROI inside the deal is enough to justify the debt? We talked about the benefits of debt and why having more debt on our balance sheets means we have more assets that are inflation proof, that are investments that make us make more money during an inflationary period, which we are currently in. And so we're talking about all of these assets. So think about the strengths you have. Are you good at evaluating properties? Are you good at prospecting for customers? Are you good at building landing pages? Are you fantastic at responding back to people? Are you good at cold calling? Are you a wonderful marketer? Do you run big, large events? Do you have a network already in existence? Are you great at Facebook? What are your strengths? Write them down. Are you good at managing people? Are you good at creating presentations? Are you good at speaking? Is your space that you're a wonderful customer service person? When people come to you, man, they're getting out referrals and people love the results that they're getting. So write down your strengths on the left side. Write those down now. 3, 4, 5 strengths, maximum strengths. And I want you to go back once you've written them, and I want you to grade yourself from 1 to 10 on which one you think you're strongest in. So give yourself a grade on the top 5 strengths that you have and grade it. So if you said, man, I'm a great public speaker, I'm sure Doug put that down because, man, when me and Doug are on stage, we're just like, boom, like change your life. Let's go. So we know like that's I would say Doug is a 10 out of 10 on that. And I'll give myself an 8 out of 10. I'll give myself just a little bit lower, but I am cocky as hell. I think 8s are really, really, really damn good. So you may write down a score on yourself and just continue down, write the score, write the score, write the score. I want you to look now. Which one do you believe is the absolute best? Now, as you're looking at your page, score faster. As you're looking at your page, score yourself faster. You don't have to think about it too much. First, gut instinct. Where do I stand with these believed strengths? You may find that the last strength you put down is your strongest. Some of you may find that the first strength you put down is your strongest. Some of you may find that you put your best strength somewhere in the middle. The idea is that you are now identifying what your greatest strength is. I want you to circle the one that has the highest score. And if you're one of those silly people who gave everything a 5, that doesn't mean they're your strengths. Those are just your mediocres. What are your strengths? You may want to start a new T chart a little further down the page and put in things that you actually believe you're absolutely fucking great at, whatever it is. Now, on the other side, think about the opposite of this skill. And I want you to write down your weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? What does this strength mean you must be weak in? So if you are very, very good at slamming in front of a whole lot of people, I like to think of myself as great at getting new attention and doing like big moves of big, large groups of people, which means I'm probably not very good at following up because I'm putting a lot of new people through the funnel at all times, which makes follow up very overwhelming for me. So if you're one of those people who's like really great at, bringing a whole bunch of leads in but not following up, might be the other side of that. If you're one of those people who's totally amazing at follow up, like a person comes into the funnel, you're like, boom, all over all the time. My guess is putting new people in the funnel might be your weakness. So look for the weaknesses that are the opposite of those strengths and go down and start writing those down. Just write them on the side. The reason we're doing this is we're identifying our strengths and our weaknesses. Obviously, our strengths we want to push more into. And normally you would have somebody go and you'd hire somebody for those weaknesses. Some of those weaknesses, if they are sales, you need to hire for them immediately. If your weakness is selling yourself, that is the priority over all else. If you're one of those customer service people and you have a weakness in sales, you need to go out and get more sales. That doesn't mean become better at sales. Hopefully, if you're really good at customer service, you probably put down that you're really supportive and a great leader. Maybe you're a servant leader. So having a great sales team that you could help or a couple of salespeople would make them your customer, and now your customer service skills would be blossoming as you help them make more money. So if this makes sense, we understand how our strengths can be weaknesses, our weaknesses can be strengths, and we have to compensate for our weaknesses not through getting better at them, but through hiring people who are better at them. Excellent. Number two. So first we identify our strengths and weaknesses. Now we're going to shift down to two, enhance communication and relationships. So understanding other people is how you gain influence over customers, how you gain influence over investors, how you gain influence over the seller who's going to sell you their house. So understanding them means understanding the entire disc. Why is it that a person will not do business with me? Certain people will not do business with me unless we have drank after 8 o'clock at night, unless we have partied and hung out together after 8 or after 9. By the way, at the summit this year, you will get to hang out with Walter, and Walter will be hanging out with you after 8 o'clock on Saturday night, on Friday night, on Thursday night. I will be chilling, I will be hanging because there's a certain group, my high eyes, my influencers, who will not trust a person they have not hung with. Well, cannot do business with a person they haven't high-fived or seen get out of their comfort zone or been in a social arena. There's a certain group of people who need that experience. And so in your business, make sure there's a space for a little bit of party. It doesn't have, if you don't do alcohol, that's totally fine. But it does have to be fun. It could be a cookout, it could be a dance-off. Something fun has to be inside your company in order for customers who would like a fun experience to have a fun experience with you. Understanding others. When I was a real estate agent, I operated very strongly as a DI. I'd go out, I'd get the customer, and if they couldn't close, I couldn't close them at their house. I didn't even care about the listing. So I kept running into a problem with a very specific type of customer, a homeowner who had a lot of equity in their property, who could have sold to me at a monster discount. And I kept losing them every single time. It started bothering me. And somebody told me one day the solution to this group was to bring in a monster 100-page CMA because this was an analytical mind. This was the C, the cautious type, and then just call them and schedule a next appointment. And so because I didn't like doing two types of point, I would go in one time, I'd close or I'd be out. And so I had to shift my model for this education, this engineer, this attorney, this doctor. I had to change my mindset around how I operate with these super highly educated people, and I had to bring them a fucking book of how real estate works. And I dropped it on their table and I'd say, "What questions do you have for me?" I had to change my whole model. Before it was just like rapport, talk, enjoy, and then I had to shift to this. Here's the information. What questions do you have for me, model? And I just answer questions. And then I book another appointment to come back. And after they've reviewed the whole document, we would then list the house. I was able to gain access to 25% of my clients, a new 25%, simply by printing out a workbook for them to go through and answer a bunch of questions because they needed to feel like there was a process and a system to how we were going to list that property. Show of hands if that makes sense. Everybody else, I'd sign the contract right there. They didn't even give a shit. I'd be like, yeah, sign here, sign here, sign here. And they'd be bang, 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 bang. These guys had to leave the contract behind with them so they could review the entire contract. They have to go over the entire thing. And then when I'd come back, they'd have it all signed, ready to go. But I was missing the opportunity because I didn't understand their personality. And one day I took this training on disc profiles, and suddenly I started getting all those listings because I could slow down and answer questions. Show of hands if that makes sense. So what I would do before I went out to a house, I didn't know what their personality was. I would have a giant CMA ready to boom, drop on the table. But I also knew not to do that if I was talking to somebody who'd always talked about vacations and traveling and fun. And I knew that that person would not sell to me or list with me. If, I knew if they were wearing like a bright colored set of clothing when I walked into their house, these were eyes and like they just wanted to party and have fun. If they liked me, man, if I could crack a beer on their porch, I'd have that listing. So fans, if you grasp it. Yeah, Dorina's like, yeah. If I was taking Dorina's house, we cracked a beer on the porch. She'd be done. She'd be like, paperwork? Can you sign it for me? I'm like, yeah, I can't, but here's all the yellow spots. Oh, cool. All right. We're just gonna have fun while we're signing all the yellow spots. And the eyes don't read the contract. So you make sure your contracts are right. So adapt your approach. So communicate, understand others, and adapt your approach accordingly. We'll go more into this at the summit. Is that fair? We'll go more into DISC at the summit, but this is a nice tease of why we should study and understand DISC. Excellent. Number three, we want to improve decision making. So by understanding yourself, we're going to be able to increase our ability to make decisions. Am I doing this simply because it's my behavioral pattern, which has put me in trouble in the past? Am I avoiding this person, this quick call with a person, simply because of my personality? And if I am, let me adjust that. If I know it is going to lead me to a better result, now we can assess ourselves and go and take better action. So improving decision making comes from self-assessment. Know thyself and ask yourself. Like Mitch Jorsky is very good at evaluating himself. He's always like, I'm very conservative. And sometimes he'll look at things, say, am I making this decision? No, like not to do the thing because I'm conservative. And is this one of those moments where I could be missing out on a huge opportunity? Let me go back and take a look at that from a more optimistic point of view. And what structures could I put in place to protect myself? So he'll call himself out on his like protected mode and then go and make a more informed decision. And he'll run it by somebody like me or Mike Shine, who he knows. He tells us Mike is high risk and he calls Walter super high risk, which I completely disagree. I am just as analytical as you. But that is Mitch's perception of based on the size of activities that me and Mike do. And I think I would put Mike as me and him at the same level of risk. Although I would say maybe he's a little more conservative than me. That comes with being 60 years old, running, 5 children in his household. He's got things to think about. I understand other people have different reasons for doing things. This goes beyond personality assessments and behavior. It also goes into age, culture, where they're from, their language, their background, where they live. Knowing yourself and the differences you may have with your customers will allow you to close the gap. So I'm always obsessed with the customer, but those are other principles. This one, I want you to be obsessed with yourself, and I want you to really grasp that who you are and how you're showing up has to be able to cross the chasm to where that person is. And it's really hard to do that if we don't quite know where we stand, right? It's okay to work with people who are completely different from you. In fact, it's encourageable because you'll learn a lot. But you can't do that if you don't know who you are and where you are and how to cross that gap. Number four, boost personal and professional growth. Can you take your personality? Can you take who you are and how you've always shown up and lean more into those strengths? For instance, I'm very good at creating a vision. I'm excellent at motivating others to go and follow the vision. I find that I don't have the tendency to want to stick around to see how the details are going. And so the more I realized that, the more I said, damn, the details are very important. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to increase the vision, the time I put on the vision. I'm going to increase the people I motivate to take it forward. And I'm also going to increase the detail-oriented folks within the company who are doing the daily tasks at a higher level. This way, I can just stay focused on the vision. I can stay focused on motivating those people, and those people can do the work that I'm not very good at. So, fans, if you catch how I just improved my strength and my weakness at the same time, I'm bringing somebody else in and serving them a direction that I'm very good at. This, by the way, I want this to be a pounding chest experience. I want you to know yourself and be like, oh my God, I'm better. No matter what strengths and weaknesses you come out with, I believe you can be a great leader in your company. I believe you can be a great income producing person in your company as long as you go and lean into your strengths. The deeper you go into your strengths, the more money you're going to make. If you find you're an S and you never want to leave your house, you want to stay home with all of your family, then all you need to do is find yourself a D, find yourself a driver, and give them a large amount of equity and motivate them to go into, and then ask them, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? How can I help you? How can I help you? Let's have lunch. Let's have dinner. How can I help you? So no matter what personality experience you are, knowing yourself will help you bring in those strengths into other people. Show of hands if that makes sense. We're grasping that you are perfect for your business, and we can bring in the right people who you can use your exact pre-existing strength to level up and increase income. Starting with, of course, sales. Got to make more money, more customers. All right, so action steps. Take a personality assessment. There is one, a fun one that I created on gualtermurillo.com. If you go to my page, go to tools, and inside there's an investor personality test. I based the whole thing off of the MBTI. So the Myers-Briggs personality test. You go in there and you'll get the investor type that you are. It is a fun test. It comes out with little characters and explains, what investor types go out and do different things. And it should help you identify what partners you're looking for, at least through understanding yourself. If you're not familiar with the MBTI, Myers-Briggs, it is the oldest personality, not the oldest. There are older ones. There are the four tests that the Greeks used to use. But this is the more in-depth, understood version that I like to use personally. It's hard to use in sales, which is why I use DISC all the time. When you're hiring people, when you work with people, DISC is a very good assessment. When you're bringing in customers, DISC is a great assessment because you can do it visually. But when you're going to a deeper level with yourself, the MBTI is a much better personality test for you to figure out like what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Analyze your results. I want you to go through, analyze your results, and then apply the insights from today using the T chart again. All we did was kind of exercise this T chart. I'd like you to do this as often as you possibly can. Just, once a week, go back and review yourself and say, hey, in these conversations, where were my strengths this week? Because we might have just written down a whole bunch of strengths that we think we have. And as the week goes on, we may discover, you know what, our strengths have actually been something else. Our weaknesses have actually been something else. So we want to do another assessment at the end of this week or at a daily level until you're for sure certain who you are. So a fan of this is really important. Doing a little self-assessment, knowing thyself. Excellent. Also, Dorina wants me to remind everyone, if you have not got your tickets to the summit, the room blocks, oh, that's the hotel. The room blocks for the hotel expire 2 weeks out before the summit. So you want to get your room block. I just found out about this morning, so I apologize for not saying it last week. If you have not already booked your hotel using the link that gives you the room block code, then you have 2 weeks left. We're right about at that 2 weeks left point. The summit is October 18th to the 20th. Get your tickets now, get your hotel now. Otherwise, it does get more and more expensive as it gets closer and closer and closer to the event. That is not my fault. Also, buy your airline tickets. If you're not driving in, if you're flying in, you're going to want to get those sooner because those also drive up in price. My brother just got his and he told me, he's like, bro, this is way more expensive than it was a month ago. And I told him, bro, that will be more expensive tomorrow. So book it now. So book your flights, book your hotels at the summit. We know for sure we're going to be building a business plan. We know for sure that we will be doing a lot of networking, and we know for sure Dorina has confirmed, hardcore confirmed that 50 people will be at their seats in attendance, and she just started calling yesterday. So if you haven't got a call from her, she will be calling you. She will be texting you. Please, if you want to speed things up for her, just shoot her a text today and let her know, hey, you don't have to text or call me. Like, I am coming to the summit. And that will make it a lot easier for her team to go and focus on the people who have tickets already and just confirming what their flight time is, when they're coming in, where they're going to be, so she can start organizing networking components outside of the traditional stuff that we're doing at the event. Now, book of the week. Every week we have a book. We already did our action steps. Show of hands for clear on the action steps. We know what we're going to do. Excellent. Show of hands if you already did some. You took along with us, did some work. All right. All right. Very good. So we're going to do a book of the week. We do this every week. The reason being we read books because books have knowledge. And knowledge alone is not going to get you successful. But if you have knowledge, then there's a good chance that you could put it into place. And then if you put it into place into the right vehicle, you can go out and be extremely successful. I realize Michael Shine is here. Oh, look at that. So Michael Shine, do you remember the book of the week? Oh, excellent. All right. So Michael Stein is our holistic attorney. He is the keeper of the books. He and I realized a long time ago that every principle had a book that went with it. And Ron told me that every book addresses one principle really, really, really well. And this is no different. In fact, all of the principles you can get a deeper understanding by going through the book of the week. Grant Cardone says that the average person reads one book a year. Show of hands if we understand. Average is not rich. Average is low income. They don't have options. So average is a non-optional person. And he said that they don't even read that book. So if you and CEOs read 50 to 60 books a year. So by reading one book per week, you're reading 52 books in a year. That gives you a 52 to 1 advantage over the average human being and puts you in the same knowledge level, at least, of the CEOs of top corporations and companies. So let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause. He does a book a week. He is the holistic attorney. He's the keeper of the books. He's the closer. Michael Shine.
Thanks, Walter. Hi, everybody. Um, so Book of the Week is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And I want to show you what my this is my bookmark that I found. This is a huge, thick book, and I haven't read all of it. Although I've been through it, and I've also attended his events, but Tony Robbins' books are just amazing. It's not some of the books we do on the 52 weeks are books that are, specific and very technical. This one will change your life. So if you feel like your life is not going in the right direction, emotionally, mentally, financially, whatever, you could just take this book, go sit on a deserted island, and it would change everything. You'd probably turn that deserted island into an oasis. He's amazing, so much power. During COVID, we went to one of his events. He's really good. And just some of the things that you take out of it. The number one, anytime you want to make a change in your life, the first thing you need to do is raise your standards and believe you can meet them. This was really important for me because you just have to set up and raise your standards, and life will only give you what you accept. So if you raise your standards, you will get much better things in your life. That's awesome. Change our belief system and develop a sense of certainty that we can and will meet the new standards before we actually do. So fake it till you make it. Go out there. And it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. Such a good book for habits and just staying on the right track. I mean, obviously in 3 minutes, I can't summarize the whole book, but Tony Robbins will absolutely change your life. This book is just super, super powerful, and I love it. Great book. Thank you.
Give Michael Shine a round of applause. He's been with us for the last 5 years, helping us build millionaires. We built 31 millionaires over the last 4 years, and we'll be doing our count very soon. Arena's be contacting everybody to find out how they're doing, where they're at, what the number is. So at the summit, we will reveal how many millionaires we've been building over the last 5 years. And also, I've got Doug McGurk on the call, and every week we go through one of our guided meditations. We do this intentionally so that every principle that we've learned, we can actually now go and implement tactically into our world. Before we get Doug on to do our guided meditation for knowing thyself and implementing the appropriate personality behavior shifts when in the right customer or in the right space or working with our strengths and compensating for our weaknesses with others. Pete Imbrosino currently is on tour with Tony Robbins, and he does the tour and he goes out with him. So Doug McGurk taught for 3 years with Tony, teaching coaches, helping people become more successful. Tens of thousands of realtors. He trained them, taught them how to maximize their businesses, investors in real estate. Doug is a real estate investor himself with us in the community. But I wanted to get Pete's opinion before we bring on Doug to do the guided meditation. I want to get Pete's opinion on the book of the week because before Mike popped in, I was like, Mike, like in case you can't make it. But Pete, I'd like you to give us more insight into Tony's actually, like knowing Tony personally. How does he show up the way the book portrays some of the principles that you've seen in the book? How does he live those principles?
Oh, he lives, you know what? One of the most amazing things that I've learned is that, in private, as well as on stage, he's the same guy. As compassion, as passionate, as giving and caring, he is that person deep down. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have stuck with it for as long as I have hadn't I understood that. But if I could add, can I add something to the book? A little bit of more of a little distinction that I've learned. You know, going to his events, everybody's heard of the Firewalk event, the Unleash the Power Within. That came from this book. He literally turned the processes and the systems around changing your belief systems, which BS is short for BS. We all know what that is. He shortens up how we rewire our brain, the neuroassociative conditioning that he talks about in UPW. Emotional mastery is a big key. How we show up is a major skill set. How we show up to our business, how we show up to our loved ones. And the power of questions, what questions we ask ourselves on a daily basis, what that little voice does in the back of our mind that gives us that doubt and so forth. So anyway, the thing that I've had the privilege of going to probably, I don't know, 35 UPWs, and that constant just re-listening and solidifying those teachings is so amazing. So my recommendation is read the book, but then get to an event.
Give Pete Ambrosino a big round of applause. Now, without further ado, Doug McGurk has been doing this for us for years now, and he's built a wonderful repertoire of guided meditations that are designed to help you move through each one of these principles at the rate that you choose. They're recorded. You can go to guidedhypnotic.com if that's something you're interested in getting access to. They're constantly updated. So Doug's been building this repertoire of guided meditations. It is one of the most valuable assets that I have seen in my life, is being able to put belief systems in here that I can then go and operate with. So if you're concerned about guided meditation or you've never done one before, well, stick with it. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to breathe. You should breathe, though. That'll keep you alive. But if you are driving, keep your eyes on the road. I have given this instruction many times. If you're operating machinery, if you're handling small children, your eyes should be open at all times. And with that being said, if you are and you want to come back to this later, you can absolutely come back and hit the play button on this video at 10 minutes and 38 minutes, 38 minutes in it. So without further ado, let's give Doug McGurk, the Maximizer, a big round of applause. He'll be speaking at the summit this year. He'll be running the Dickens process for us. He'll be starting our events. He'll be running the Q&As. He'll be writing managing the energy, making sure that we all are staying on track and knowing what we're doing. His daughter will be at the event. His wife will be at the event. They'll be giving us wonderful experiences throughout the entire event. So without further ado, Doug McGurk, the Maximizer.
Thank you. And let's give it up for Walter, Pete, everybody for sharing. Come on. And all of you, of course, for sharing your most valuable asset, your time, your energy, your attention. I want to acknowledge everyone. How many have been on this call consistently? Like, hands up if this is like you're just in it for the long. Look at this. Unbelievable. So I just want to acknowledge you all. 5th season, Dorina says. That's insane. Man, time flies. So, with that being said, there'll be some assumption in this meditation that you may have some peripheral awareness of the disc, and if not, you will be embedding some of it, if that's all right. How many of y'all are okay with that? You're good? All right, awesome. Well, let me know if you're hearing some music. Right on, right on. All right, so why don't you go ahead and take a nice, big, deep cleansing breath in and relax. That's right. Now take another big, deep cleansing breath in and tense every muscle in your body. Tense your arms, tense your legs, tense your body, tense your butt, tense your stomach, tense every muscle in your body. Tense it up, tense it up. And relax. That's right. And as you close your eyes, I welcome you to the Garden of Understanding. a place where the flora represents the diverse personalities and behaviors of yourself and those around you. And this garden is not just any garden. It's a reflection of the disc profile, all of the behaviors, all the styles, and each plant and pathway revealing deeper insights into human interaction. So as you step into this garden, feel the soft grass under your feet, comforting and inviting. And with each deep cleansing breath you take in now, let the fragrant air fill you, drawing you deeper into relaxation and openness. And this garden is serene, a perfect setting for discovery and connection. So wander through this garden, observing the unique traits of each plant, and allow the diversity of the garden to enrich your understanding of yourself and others. So as you connect even more to your higher power, repeat these affirmations either aloud or in your mind. I am insightful and attuned to the nuances of personalities. Each interaction teaches me more about myself and others. And I wonder if you can ask and answer these questions now. Why am I so adept at recognizing the needs and motivations of others? How does my growing understanding improve my relationships? What makes me so effective at communicating with different personalities? And as you walk, you notice 4 distinct sections of the garden, each representing a disc profile. And you'll notice the section of D personalities, the dominants. Here, the plants are tall, reaching for the sun with bold, vibrant colors. They thrive on sunlight and are resilient against the wind. Just like the D-type individuals, they are strong, assertive, and pioneering. Feel the power and drive that these plants symbolize. And embrace these qualities when you need to lead and make decisions. And then we notice the I section, the influence section. And this section is full of flowers that sway gracefully with the breeze, bright and inviting. The I-type is charismatic and sociable, just like these flowers that seem to dance and mingle with each other. To absorb the energy of enthusiasm and warmth, and utilize your charm to engage and inspire those around you. And as we move to the S section, the steadiness. A tranquil pond surrounded by lush, verdant foliage characterizes this area. It's a place of peace and stability, reflecting the dependable, cooperative nature of the S-type personalities and behaviors. Draw upon the calm and supportive energy here, and offer stability and support in your interactions. Which brings us to the C part of the garden, the conscientiousness. And in this part of the garden, the layout is meticulous, with every plant perfectly placed. It mirrors the C-type's attention to detail, organization, and reliability. So notice the structure and order that lead to effectiveness. As you apply these principles to enhance precision in your endeavors. So as you leave this garden, take with you a bouquet, each flower representing a personality type. Let this bouquet be a reminder of the diversity you encounter daily. With this knowledge, approach every interaction and understanding with adaptability and compassion, knowing that, like every plant in the garden, every person you meet has unique needs and gifts. Reflect on this garden when facing interpersonal challenges and communications. Let the insights from today guide your interactions, making them more meaningful and effective. And by now, you've recognized that this meditation, crafted with care, uses rich metaphors of a garden to explore the disc profiles, helping your other-than-conscious mind understand that not just yourself, but also how to effectively interact with customers and prospects. So as you internalize these lessons, your relationships in both personal and professional spheres will flourish, rooted in deep understanding and respect. That's right. Come on back.
Deep understanding and respect. That is what DISC is all about. Let's give Doug McGurk a big round of applause. He is the maximizer. He will be speaking at the summit this year. And as you're coming back, notice that Greg LeBlanc is wearing an amazing shirt. Greg, Alchemist Nation, what a fantastic shirt, bro. Let's give him a big round of applause. Love it. Love it. Some of you got our brand on. We appreciate it. Gary Aker rocking the shirt, man. I see you. Sana Lopes, she's got the shirt. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Looking awesome. Alchemist Nation is growing. We're taking ground. We're doing a lot of really good things within the community. We're seeing people become more and more successful. I want to share a number with you. It's very important. 500 people came into our system this month alone. Most of them, 400 of them, came through our live events. Let's give all of our local leaders a big round of applause. 400 people have attended our live events in the month of August. So I'm thinking about August. So September, we're still rocking through it. So this is a big milestone for us. We're aiming to continue helping more and more entrepreneurs as they come through our door. And our local leaders are doing their very best to make calls and have conversations with every person who walks through. But I have a challenge, and I want to share the challenge with each of you, especially to our mastermind members. we don't have the ability to get through all of the 9,000 people who have come through our door in the last 6 months. There are 9,000 people who have come through our door in the last 6 months who we haven't had a chance. Oh, I would say about 7,000 of them we haven't had a chance to actually pick up the phone, call, explain what Alchemist Station is all about. So if you are on the mastermind and you are looking to raise capital, or you are one of our coaches and you'd like to help more people and you'd like to jump on with us for a few hours a day or a few hours in a week, please let us know. You can send an email to events@alchemiststation.com. And those are your relationships to grow and prosper and help us on the mission of building 100 millionaires, starting with maybe 100 people put into your account. That being said, the summit is coming up. We are officially 35 days away, although Dorina in her head has me out there a few days earlier, so she keeps thinking we're like 30 days away because we will be out in Orlando doing work, getting the whole event set up. But it is technically 35 days away. And for our VIPs, it is 34 days away. So for VIPs, you get there on the 17th. We spend all day with our business team, with our consultants, and we're driving towards scaling up your business. Let's give all of our business consultants a round of applause. Who'll be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And Gary Aker, who'll be teaching leadership at the summit on day 3. He'll be in there with the VIPs, teaching leadership, guiding us along the way. So let's give Gary Aker a big round of applause, who's also going to be out there in advance with me, making sure that we're getting everything done right. Since it looks like I've got a special guest on the call today, I see my brother, Josh. His last name is Amarello, so let me update that. Josh, what brings you to the call today? Before we go to Q&A, I already know, but I just like to hear you say it.
I'm just here to hang out. Here to hang out. We got the event coming up in 35 days. I'm super excited about that. Looking forward to getting to talk with you guys again on Friday.
So you're going to be speaking Friday. I have Josh speaking in the morning because he's talking about a really important topic. Josh works with children. His entire company is all based on children improving and developing themselves. So Josh, tell us a little bit about Amp Academy. And also before you do, Josh bought a building 3 years ago. He purchased the building with no money down, no money out of pocket, seller finance, $1 million property. Actually, it was 1.3 million at the time, but he bought it for $1 million with 80% seller finance. He raised 20% of the capital. He bought the property. It was 12% interest for years, 8% and 12%, the mix. And then this month, he's refinancing it. It got appraised at $1.8 million. Let's give Josh a big round of applause. And he's helping children and he runs Amp Academy. So
Couple numbers were slightly askew, but it was 14% interest that I was paying to a fair chunk of people.
14% interest. Show fans if that means his property must be making money. He must have a way to pay that.
It's doing well. double the value on it over the course of 3 years, which is awesome.
And Josh, by the way, before you go into Amp Academy and what it does, how did you double the value of your property? But before you answer the question, I just want to ask the question if it's even relevant to this room. Show fans if you'd like that knowledge of how he doubled the value of a property in 3 years. Okay. Josh, how did you do it?
Yeah, so it was just finding good tenants. So when I got the building, it was a 42,000 square foot building that was 21,000 of it was unused. So the base rents from everybody that was already in there were enough to cover the mortgage and still bring about $1,000 a month of cash flow. So I did the build out obviously for my business, and I put 2 other businesses that are focused around children's growth. We have the first ever sensory play place in Massachusetts in our building, and then I also have a dance studio in the building along with Amp Academy. Working on getting a new tenant in there also, which is a boxing gym that is also working with kids. So right now there's something in Fall River called the Fall River Youth Initiative, where the city is helping to pay for the youth of Fall River to be able to attend these things that are valuable for their growth, things that will help them learn new things, put them on more social environments. And 3 of the 13 businesses that are on that list are in my building. So super exciting that we're doing a lot of stuff with the youth of the city. But yeah, bringing in tenants, the right ones, the ones that are gonna all synergize with one another and kind of help each other grow.
And you increased rents?
So I only did the base annual increases.
Josh, he's used to the residential side of things, so he doesn't feel good about raising rents on
Don't.
traditional tenants. But in commercial tenants, you did the base increase, and that did help increase the cash flow of the property, right?
Yeah, so the first year, I kind of let things sit. Actually, so it's like the first 6 months I let things sit, and then in the new year I bumped it up to be more market rate for the businesses because they were getting something of a deal in comparison to what they should have been paying. Now
Awesome.
they're up
Let's
to where
give
they going.
Josh. So Josh, you increased the rents, you increased the occupancy, and then you made the tenants synergize so that all the businesses are actually more successful, which drives more traffic to the general building. These are all commercial real estate investing strategies that Josh will not be talking about at the summit. So Josh, I wanted to
Wow.
make sure we got it out while I had a chance. So Josh, tell us about Amp Academy and what is it you do with children? Like
Yeah, so
the way they work out in your business so important to you?
yeah, so first, Amp Academy is a ninja warrior parkour and martial arts school with its primary focus around helping children build confidence and basically teaching them that they don't have to live the lives that we all lived when we were younger, you know, where we were kind of we had all this bad programming because we didn't know that we could do things. We didn't know that all we needed to do was put the work in, right? So Amp Academy is about teaching children to find a way, right? In parkour specifically. So all of the arts that we teach kind of have this idea of adapting. A lot of times when people learn something new, they tend to give up because it's too hard. And it's like a lot of people don't want to try to figure out a way. And so what we're doing is building that into the kids at a young age where it's not a matter of whether I can or can't, it's a matter of how I'm going to. And once we can get that into their heads, then suddenly they're where we're trying to get right now, they're already there by the time they reach high school.
And what do you mean by where we're trying to go? You mean as entrepreneurs, where we're believing in ourselves, going and
Trying to
taking
get through trying to
actions?
get through those mindset blocks, like trying to get the right mindset without having all this like, oh, I don't know, like money's tight, there's too much risk, like what happens if it doesn't work? And instead of being afraid to fail, acknowledging that failure is a part of the process, and the only way to succeed is to first fail 1,000 times. But you have to get comfortable with failure.
That I see a lot of the entrepreneurs on the call saying, yeah, you got to get comfortable with failure. That's a part of the process. I see two of entrepreneurs on the call, Billy Reuter and Jeremy Roderuck, both ran karate schools and fitness schools for kids, dojos. So I know that they're like, yep, absolutely. I can relate to this. Children and adults face the same exact problems. And we see it. I know Mike Shine, Gary, Doug, all of us who've been working with the entrepreneurs, Mitch Jorsky, Pete, Geo, as we're working with people, we're seeing the same problems that happen at the childhood level happening at the adult level. The same concerns of, man, like, what if I fail though? What if I fall? What if the people around me don't like me? Or what if I can't make the people around me proud? We do the same exact thing with our customers. We're doing the same exact thing with our lenders. We're doing the same exact thing with our banks, with our properties, with our tenants. And it's the same exact problems, but the way Josh is able to work with them is at the core base problem, which is mostly our belief around ourselves. So Josh will be at the summit. Do you know what time you're speaking? Did I tell you already?
I believe you said 10:30.
10:30 on Friday morning. So let's give Josh Amarello a big round of applause. We're going to open up to the Q&A, but before we do, Darina wants me to show you a video of what's going to be happening at the summit. If you have not already gone to this page, you can go to summit.alchemiststation.com and you can find out what the timeline actually is. Turns out, Darina, it's 33 days and 20 hours away. So very quickly, if you can hear the sound of the camera.
The people that show up to Alchemist Nation are just the most friendly, truly helpful, genuine people. They have the right mindset. The most value is just meeting the people here. I get a ton of value from the people on stage, but I'm most excited about the people sitting in the audience.
You have to come to this event because it is absolutely life-changing. The information given here is invaluable. Best weekend spent, hands down.
I was tired of being the smartest guy in the room, and that wasn't a problem here. Walter brought so much value, him and Darina, to put this event together that I felt obligated to go ahead and do the mastery program because I learned so much this weekend that I felt I could build on that. And that's after being a mortgage banker for 25 years. Still more to learn.
It is so motivating to see people who actually have done it and can show you how to do it and are willing to show you how to do it.
I personally wanted to come to the summit to add more value. We're starting to buy investment properties and we just wanted to move faster.
Definitely recommend coming to a summit like this so that you can discover a part of yourself that you didn't even know you existed, so you can do better, be better for yourself, for your family, and for your community.
The network, the community, for me, the #1 value, because it's so hard to find all of these different people that are here in one setting. You have to do so much work, and Walter and Darina and the whole team at Alchemist Nation have already done all that work for you.
The 100 Millionaire Summit blows my mind. The people here are not like any other summit. They're trained, they're professional, they're incredible. And if you really want to learn stuff, this is the place to be.
What is the cost of missing all those opportunities? What is the cost of not going after the $1 million dream?
This community that Alchemist Nation is, it's beautiful. All these different people that are there to support you, and I'm glad I came. I thought 6 figures was successful, but then when I'm in the room with people making millions and multi-millions, and some people here with a multi-billion-dollar portfolio, you know, you want to have good people around you that push you to do better. Or the biggest takeaway I got from this is believe in yourself and make sure you hang around the right people.
You can go watch the rest of it. Go to summit.alchemistnation.com. Let's give Darina a round of applause. She's right. It's a badass video. It gets me amped up every time I watch it. There's another 2 or 3 more minutes on that video. If you are in the video, if you were there last year, you definitely got to go watch it, see yourself. It's a whole blast, the whole experience. Also, VIPs, reminder, if you haven't purchased the VIP, we don't do it because it comes with a cool backpack. Although, yes, the first 25 VIPs do get a backpack. And they do get a notebook that says Mission to Millions on, I believe, or says Alchemist Nation on the notebook. They don't do it because of the swag that comes inside the bag. They don't do it for the cup. They don't do it for the shirt. Although, show of fans, if you got one of our shirts on, they are badass, so nice and soft. They don't do it for the shirts. They don't do it for the swag. They don't do it for the VIP lanyard that they get to wear all weekend long that says to other people that they are very important people. The VIPs don't do it because they get a whole extra day with me. We're not VIPs because we get to spend a whole day working on scale and leadership and developing our business or working with our business consultants in an entire room all by ourselves and leveling up. We don't do it just because of the networking events. VIPs, from what I've heard, purchase VIP because other people who purchase VIP tend to think differently. That sitting in the front row, that spending time developing their businesses and scaling up, that time walking around thinking about and being able to identify each other with that lanyard helps them think at a higher level and be held accountable to doing greater, bigger things. The specialized network events that are just for the VIPs creates a more exclusive environment where they can start talking about deals and learning more about each other's businesses. Show fans, if you understand, VIPs are very important people, which is why they buy VIP and they continue to buy VIP. And if you bought VIP at one event, you tend to buy VIP at the next event because VIPs are just VIPs. Let's give all of our VIPs a big round of applause. See Antonio Bradford. I see Gio Sama. I know Lauren is. I see a bunch of our VIPs in the calls. Awesome. Gary Aker is VIP. Gary Aker literally is like, dude, I got to be a VIP even though I won't be able to sit in the front row. I'm still VIP. He's like, I purchased the ticket. I want the lanyard. I want to be in the room. I want to be... He'll be developing us on Thursday. He'll be in the room with our leaders, teaching leadership and guiding them. But for Gary, it's very important to be a VIP. Show fan if that makes sense. He understands the commitment to himself. Awesome. This is my favorite part of Saturday, is to open up to Q&A, because it's not about what I say. It's about what you know and what you hear and what you do. because at the end of the day, Alchemist Nation is built by you. I'm just here to support and be your cheerleader. So let's give you a round of applause. First to unmute wins. We've got our millionaires on the call. We got Pete, Michael, we've got Gary. Yes, Serena. You got Emerson? You want to bring him over? First to unmute wins. Emerson needs a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I will be in town on this week, so I'll be able to host my own meeting on Tuesday. So I just want to clear that up for everybody. Well,
Awesome.
please.
So Roland Charles last week was like, hey man, I might not be able to run my event in Clearwater. And Eric Bowen was jumping in. He was saying, look, I'll do it. And now we got Roland Charles has taken back control of Clearwater. By the way, I think Eric is still going to come and speak. So this will be just a power session. I will be in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm now missing the two of you together at the same time. And Gary will be in Orlando. So it's like we're just on tour right now. Let's give all of our speakers and leaders and community leaders and Roland Charles a big round of applause for crushing the game. Thank you, Roland. Congratulations, man. You and Eric get to hang out. Next unmute wins. In fact, Gary Aker, give us a little leadership tip. I don't see Michael Gabriel in here, so I can't get your marketing tip today, but we can get a leadership tip.
So I thought it was really good what you started off with, talking about knowing yourself. And John Maxwell has one thing that he calls the law of the lid. And basically it's that your the furthest your company can go is based on how good of a leader that you have at the top. But there's also like the law of the lid on your own personality. And the better that you know yourself and like yourself, the further you'll be able to rise, the further you'll be able to be successful. And the problem is that a lot of people that don't like themselves, they end up sabotaging any success that they have. And so it's very, very important that you really do, like what Walter was talking about, get to know yourself, get to know your strengths, get to know your weaknesses. And hey, if you don't like yourself, then you need to make yourself likable. Do the things, make the changes that need to be made so that you are a person that you can respect. Because when you respect yourself, that pours over into your other relationships. It pours over into your businesses. It pours over into your ability to be successful. And so be someone that you can respect yourself. And when you like yourself, that will help you be more successful, because if you don't like yourself, you will sabotage yourself, and you will sabotage relationships, you'll sabotage your businesses, and it will play into your success. So great points that we're making today about liking yourself and about knowing yourself, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Very important. It's part of leadership. Is the first person that you have to lead is to lead yourself.
Give Gary Aker a round of applause. The COO of Alchemist Nation. He's also training all of our leaders to be great leaders, great community leaders, so they can bring more people in. He's at the front lines of our business consulting program that we're working to implement across the country so that our coaches and our business consultants are able to increase your income. I know Pete Ambrosino is on our board, and he has been crushing it in the council, pushing Gary very hard on, hey, we have to get them results in the first quarter of the program. They have to be able to see themselves already winning, early wins, often wins, making their income increase. So let's give Pete a round of applause. Mitch Jorsky is going to be speaking at the summit this year. So Mitch, we'd like to get not only a quote from you, but also we'd like to find out what is it that the Scaredy Cat is bringing to the table to the summit this year, and where your portfolio is at and where your portfolio is going to go can remain a mystery until they get to the summit and find out. So Mitch Jorsky, the Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing.
I want to give Mike Shine actually an applause, because he's getting it done per the usual. I have not one, but two closings on Monday with Mike Shine in person at actually a meetup. So getting it done, him and his team always getting it done. I'm looking forward to seeing him and you. Be a nice little warm up before the summit.
That is Boston.
So yeah,
right? So you, me, Mike will all be together in Boston in Foxborough on the 16th.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. As far as what I'm speaking about, just dropping knowledge about financial freedom. So we expand every year, right? We've talked about some of the tools, so to speak, real estate, crypto. These are just tools that can lead to financial freedom. Obviously, there's others, stocks, dividends, all those things. So yeah, to sum up, we're going to jump into talking about financial freedom and what the foundation of that is, because I think there's a lot of people that will be in the audience that have some blind spots and need to shine light on them in order to get their financial freedom journey further along, or even started for the people just beginning the journey. So it'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to speaking every year because it's a great time, and I love getting everyone juiced up. And if you're a VIP, then we'll chop it up, because a little sidebar, don't tell anybody. But when I'm on stage speaking, I generally can't really see anyone past the first couple rows. So my interaction with people in the audience is usually just the people in the first couple rows, which happens to be a VIP. So yeah, if you want to interact with the speakers more, a VIP definitely helps you do that. And I promise maybe this year I'll wear my glasses so I can see 4 or 5 rows deep, but it only goes so far. So just there's that, FYI.
Actually good. So Vinny I got the box of glasses at the house. Vinny actually texted me last month. He said he might be going in for surgery this week. He's actually going in for surgery. He did confirm for me this week. He's going in for surgery to replace his knee on the 16th. So if we can send Vinny a message, send him prayers. We already know it's going to be awesome because he lives positivity and he's built a good relationship with his doctors. But he is going in to replace his knee this week. So if you've got success stories about knee replacements, or you just want to send him positive vibes, Vinny is very open to that. He and I are also building a contingency plan in case he can't travel. So we do have, if he cannot travel to the summit, he's working on a recording, a short down version of what he's going to be training on, and I will be running the rest of that training. So regardless, you will get glasses, you will get books, you will get the training. Hopefully, Vinny is able to come out in person. If he's not, we're going to give you an even greater bonus. VIPs will get a one-on-one call with Vinny Chopra. So if he cannot be there in person, you'll get a one-on-one call with him, which is freaking priceless. So let's give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. Give Vinny a round of applause. We'll take a couple more questions. A reminder is Guerrilla Business School starts again at 12 p.m. today. So for everybody in the mastermind, everybody who's in Guerrilla Business School, today we're talking about sales funnels, we're talking about marketing, and we're talking about driving traffic. So let's make sure we get some food before we get in there. So we're going to do another 17 minutes of Q&A. First unmute wins. And actually, Mike Shine, you can unmute and tell us your disc profile.
I don't know. I think you're right, Walter. I used to be a high I, but your conditions or your circumstances, being the father of 5 and running a title business, kind of make it so that you have to take on that D and make decisions quickly and not procrastinate. So I kind of a DI. I do like to go out and meet people and go to networking and have fun. And yeah, I don't think I'd do business until I had dinner with someone, or at least an ice cream.
I will say absolutely. You have
sushi
improved the D over the years in order to manage the family that you've built. And I would even say the same thing about Gary Aker now that I spend a lot of time with him eating meals and smoking cigars or pipes. Very similar to our relationship, Mike. It's a very fun environment. And he's managing 9 children. He's managing Alchemist Nation. He's got his own investments and his lending business. And it reminds me of that same personality. It's like, yeah, he's had to become AD. But I'm pretty sure, much like young Mike, there are a lot of stories about doing some fun adventures. Oh, Emerson. Uncle Mike's that way. He's over there. See?
Emerson. Emerson. Absolutely.
Let's get some more Q&A questions. We got most of the speakers who are going to be at the summit. Now's a good time to ask about what's going on. Or if you want to share your personality, if you know it, now's a good time to unmute and share some of the things you've found about being your personality.
Walter, I'll jump in on this, man. Hey, DISC has been an invaluable tool for me in business. I tend to hang out in the DI space. My DI flip back and forth quite a bit. I am not afraid to come up to you and talk to you. I'm not afraid to tell you like it is. I'm a shoot from the hip guy. I typically put a CK right after the DI because that's kind of where my approach after it. So, very black and white guy, right? However, what's most
In fact, I've never
powerful-
seen him not be white, and I've never seen him not wear a black shirt. So that is true.
it's just easy, right? So here's the funny is that once you understand yourself and you understand how others think, now you can customize the way that you present to that other person because they receive information the way they want to, not the way you want to, right? So if I'm talking to a data-driven person, I'm talking to somebody with an accountant mind like Walter, man, if I'm conveying him numbers and figures and facts and I got all kinds of data about upcoming stuff, he's sold. He's done. Game over. So at that point, once you learn this and you can start applying it and you start listening to the language of people as they use it and then be able to identify what personality they are, game over.
Game over. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's how Mike Shine's gotten me into any of the investments we've done together. He's like, look at the ROI. Here's the numbers. I'll send it. In fact, Mike has a cheat code in his life. He's like, I'm going to send this to Mitch and Walter and see, let them tackle it. We'll go through it, and then Mike makes the decision. And what Mike and Mitch and myself have found is that our group chat, we have a little WhatsApp chat, has been so valuable because of our different disc profiles, looking at different types of investments. What Pete just shared with you is this is a code. It's a hack. This is why we leave it for deep into the 52 weeks to wealth. So we weed out a lot of people before we get here to wealth principle 48. This is the sort of stuff that can change complete results, and it's almost kind of manipulative because it is kind of, you just change yourself and you get the yes. So we want to be very careful with this and remind you that in Alchemist Nation, we do all our deals morally, ethically, and legally. Show of hands if you agree. All deals morally, ethically, and legally. Anything we sell must be good for the customer. It must produce a return on investment for the customer. So Pete Ambrosino is right. This is very powerful. Go ahead, Michael Shine.
Yeah, so I learned DISC through you, Walter. I mean, I took the Tony Robbins test, but I do the closings, and I have to say, every time I see a new customer coming in for a closing, I always subconsciously do a DISC profile, not because I'm trying to manipulate them, but I just want to know how to better communicate with that person. You could speak very differently if you're talking to Ron Bowling than if you're talking even to Walter. It's a very different conversation, and it's awesome. DISC, and that's from you, Walter. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Give Michael Shine a round of applause. He is killing it in his closing title business by increasing his ability to build rapport with his customers. And like Mike just shared, like he talks to Ron Bowling, he talks to me differently. He talks to a lot of his closer. The people who close with Mike are people inside Alchemist Nation for the most part. And he's in communication with them very often. If you have not gotten Michael Shine's number and you plan on closing 10, 20 deals this year, you've got to talk to Mike. His team is amazing. Make sure you get through things. But even more importantly, there's sushi involved. If you close with Mike, there is genuinely a meal of sushi involved, and it's a good time. We talk about deals, we talk about what we're doing. And Mike he's vegan. So you do have to be aware that Mike is probably just going to order the cucumber and rice sushi, but he does eat seaweed salad, which is fantastic. My new favorite thing when I get sushi is seaweed salad. So fans, if you've had it before, have you tried it? Oh, totally worth it. What an experience. For those who know, you know. For those who don't, you will one day experience seaweed salad now that I've implanted it into your brain, following your exact disc profile. Let's get one or two more shares before we jump off.
So I've got to share.
Tashin!
I have.
Where's your camera, man? I hear you, but I don't see you.
I don't know. It says my camera is disconnected. It says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Well, I'm gonna start it. Let me find Tashin. All right, let's see. Video. Ask to start video.
All right, boom. Start my video. All right, there we go. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Two closings this month are scheduled. First month with two closings. So super dope. Ready for that. Was able to bring in an agent and show them the wholesale side of a deal, broke down the numbers with them. If they would have represented the deal as an agent, they would have made $600. They're now netting $9,000. So they are on board to move forward with us and start investing. And the last foreclosure, that is my second deal closing this month, the wholesaler that brought me that deal because he couldn't perform and I was able to help stop the foreclosure, he just brought me, which will be my first multifamily property, a 3-unit in my own backyard on seller financing with 10K down to the seller, no interest and principal only payments for 5 years.
Give Tashin a round of applause. Tashin, you'll be at the summit, am I right?
I will be there with VIP.
VIP, Tashin, let's go.
Yes.
First investment you make when you close a deal, buy VIP, get yourself to the front, you'll close more deals. I can't say guaranteed when selling anything, but take it for what it is. People who are champions get what they want in life. One more time, let's give Tashin a round of applause. Let's take another question, share, or insight around knowing thyself, where this has come up for you, or even what came out today. First unmute wins. And I love the Q&A. Love the Q. It's my favorite part. Billy Reuter speaking at the summit about the trifecta, the full trifecta, all the triangle.
All the triangles. Yeah, I just had to jump on here. Man, what I really want to share, which kept coming up, I'm jotting down notes. Although in business, we want to see an upward trajectory, right? I think we all would agree with that. But
up and to the right.
Up and to the right. Am I reversed here?
Up and to the right.
growth. But again, this is anecdotal, but speaking with so many of you and entrepreneurs, my experience is not by myself. I could literally go back to the hockey stick in my career. When was that one time that it just shot up? When was that one time that I had exponential growth? By the way, no matter what business I owned at the time, every single time I reverse engineered to a live event. I can't speak enough about the power of this summit. I cannot speak enough about the power of relationships. So I really want to just come on here and be like, listen, go into the summit, go into these live events. It is, you might consider it a business expense. And I know this might sound cliche, but I promise you with every cell that's operating in my body, it is the best investment in yourself, which then correlates to the best investment in your business. Getting around the right people, understanding the right information will save you so much time, energy, resources, and frustration in the future. It's very serendipitous in this particular call because I was 21 years old. I started my business. I actually started my own mastermind with a bunch of banana heads from Long Island. And we made a pact. None of us had any money. We're just starting. And we made a pact it was like a Tuesday night mastermind. And we made this pact was if Tony Robbins ever comes to the tri-state area, back then I was living in New York, that we promise each other that we're going to buy the ticket and go VIP. Hoping that it was probably years down the road. I promise you on the lives of my 3 beautiful children, the next day, we got the notification that Tony was coming to town. Took out our cards. We made it happen. It was like a $1,500 investment, which was ridiculous for me back then. That one event, many, many years, I get teary-eyed and like choked up a little bit. That one event changed everything for me, which I think is such a value to this particular call. But the fact that Tony Robbins was the book of the week, guys, I can't stress it enough. Get to the summit, get around these amazing people who you see on, just like Pete said, Tony's the right person. He's real on stage as in private. Everybody who you see here, it's the same thing, right? Mitch is amazing. Walter's amazing. Like everybody on this call, who you see here, it's not a show. Get to the summit, build these relationships. And if you're there, come find me because I'm going to give you the biggest hug you've ever had. Love you all. Appreciate you.
Give Billy Reuter a round of applause. I love that story. Can anybody see the authenticity in Billy when he said it? Anybody recognize a moment like that? as he was speaking, it reminded me of my first 3-day event, and I cried at that first 3-day event. I was not a good person. I was not happy with who I was. I had a lot to change. And I have put in the work since 2015 when I first went to that first event. And I've been running my own events for the last 5 years in honor of the event that changed my life, in honor of what those gentlemen did and those ladies did at that event to transform my business, to transform my life. My first event, I was making 17,000 that year. The year after the event, it set me off. I made 115,000 for the first time in my life. I broke 6 figures. And I kept going back to that same event, and I started going to other events. And by 2017, I was earning $300,000 a year. And it wasn't because of me, myself, it was because of who I'd become. It wasn't the old me, it was the person who said, I will change. And I used those events as a framework of change, as a way to say, you know what? I told my family, I'm leaving. I may not come back the same person. And I've done that every time I go to an event. Hey, I'm going to an event. It could transform me. It could change me. I would come back, and I would think that for each of you, if you have that open conversation with your family, hey, I may come back completely different. That honestly, when you come back on fire, they expect it and they're okay with that because you will be on fire after an event. It's the nature of the event. And you want your family to support that fire and stoke that fire and keep it going because you want them to know that you're going out there to get on fire for them, that you're going out to that event to get on fire for them, to produce for them. So when you come back and the coals are hot, you want your family to say, yes, this is different. This is what we've been looking forward to. You want that hug when you get home, and it may not be there if you don't set the context. Now, when I come back, I'm going to be a beast. I'm going out to recharge. I'm going out to reframe. I'm going to come back. I may have different ideas about my business, but they are the right ideas because I did the work. I put in the effort. I built the plan. Over the summit, the 3 days, we're going to build a business plan. And the last day, we're going to build the action plan to implement it. This is $1 million plan. The end, you will be able to sell your business for $1 million or more. That is the goal when the plan is implemented. It takes 2 years to implement a business plan like this. Some businesses will be worth 5 million. Some business will be worth 10 million. If you've ever watched Undercover Billionaire, some business might be worth 750,000. So it depends on how well you implement the plan. Every year at the summit, we come back and readjust the plan because plans do need to be adjusted as you go through a whole year of data. You'll make a better plan each year. Show fancy understand we're going to be here next year as well to keep you going to the goal. Absolutely. Let's give my brother a big round of applause. He's flying to the summit. I'll be seeing him in 2 days. I'll be up in Boston for 12 hours, and those 12 hours will be spent with my brother. So I'm very excited. And 3 or 4 of those hours will be spent with this community in Boston with Michael Shine, with Mitch Jorsky, with Kim Rodriguez, with our leaders, Nicole Finoni, and everybody who can fly, drive out. I know Mark will be there, Ron will be there, Sana will be there. A lot of our Boston group will be flying in and driving in. So I can't wait to see each of you there. And I'll see you again live in Orlando with all the lights on. Not to push it too hard or not to brag too much, but the talks this year at the summit, best I've ever done. I put more effort into making them more concise, more understandable. I've used a lot of ChatGPT and AI to make my PowerPoints way better looking. So there is going to be a much faster download for your brain, a much easier download, easier consumption. We're adjusting the workbook so it's a lot easier to work with. And so this year, my guess, it will be our most impactful year ever. So let's give everybody who's involved in that process a big round of applause. Love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your work, for your help. I'll see you in GBS in 30 minutes. Mastermind, cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. Yeah, I'll see you next week. By the way, wealth principle for next week is 49. Seek to understand, then to be understood. So now that we know ourselves, we're going to go and we're going to talk about how to influence others. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.